morning. Oh, there's my coffee. I was like looking for my coffee. Wow, somebody's already in here. I'm not even in here. Grabbing coffee. Hey, Rosie! I just texted you to say I was going live. So you were here even before I got my... Oh, I got turned down the volume. Before it starts doing that. So see the color? So far, that's the vanilla with just those little beans. I opened up the package, but there's here. I don't know if I'm supposed to use them all, because it says here to use 1 every 8 ounces of extract. For this was a vodka bottle of 750 mils. I put one of these packages in, so I was off by 2 of them. All of them? I'm supposed to put all of them? All of them is 1 ounce? I can't wait. Smells... Okay. Well, then I will do that. So this is an uplink to this live stream under the other one that I did, the vanilla. I was under the impression from a recipe that I had that I only had to put this amount of beans in. But apparently I was wrong. So I have to put more beans in here. I mean, it is getting dark. This was it smells very vanilla-y. Hi, hey, is Chezzy Arizona. You're a unicorn. I'm back on YouTube. Well, I tried to hide from you. It's okay. If I didn't see my daughter here, I would have thought you were her, because she's a fuzzy unicorn. Oh, where's the knife? Oh, you're Slay Nation Paranormal. So did you change your name or did you make another account? I found Abby's pen. I was looking for Abby's pen, so she had a good pen from Carleton University to fill out her paperwork yesterday, and then she went to school, and I forgot to give it to her. So this morning I tried to give it to her and I couldn't find it. Yeah, trolls are awful. Of somebody that pops in here, but doesn't even pop into the live stream, but gives me all... Look at my most recent videos. I have like 6 or 7 thumbs downs, and I'm like, it's from like the same person. I think one of the trolls that we've had before that got booted out. I just had the knife. I lose things. Oh yes, hold the bottle up to the camera. See, it's quite dark, even with that amount. Not quite as dark as that should be, but it does smell like vanilla extract. Ron, can you grab me a knife? I had a knife. I can't. I can't. Yeah, just any knife to... I like all humans. Thank you. Oh, these are old steak knives. These, I think, came from my mom. But they're not very good steak knives. Chickens like Tom Wilson. Yes. I know Daddy forgot his keys. You could text him. I was going to text him. I just noticed it was. I'm not doing it. Oh. Hey, Amanda. We're going to put the vanilla beans, more vanilla. So do you think 10 or 15 more beans? So see, I think because they were good quality beans, I don't know. Like it says 1 ounce. How much is 1 ounce? Like, is each pat ounce? More beans the merrier, right? Well, they do. So the recipe, like the thing online said that, like, once you use it, you can do it. I think 2 times to get, like, use the same beans to get vanilla. It just takes longer to eat. I think that's the word. Because there's this one, and that one. I'll open up one package. I had to get a knife to. Yeah, I just wish we had really cheap alcohol here, like you guys in the States. As I heard, like, you can get alcohol that's not necessarily good to drink because it's like doesn't have the flavor. Takes less. So they say that it should sit for. I think it should either sit for at least a month to 6 months. So I'm just gonna split these beans to get. Hello. Oh, I gotta take the top thingy off because we have like this little top thingy so that you don't spill. Good morning, creative. I'm adding more beans to vanilla because the one website I got the information from was wrong, and Rosie and Amanda sent me more beans to add to it. So you split them, and so you get all the bean stuff inside them. Yes, so yeah, I cut them in half, and I kind of scraped some things out, but I'm just like opening it, so it's just all coming out. See a big difference in 1 month if you need more. So should I? So I should them in there, or should I save one? Sorry. So what's funny with vanilla? I like the taste of vanilla. I don't like the vanilla scent. Like my oldest daughter had perfume that she sprays. She got from, I think it's from Body Shop, right? Not Body Shop, Bath and Body Works. I don't have the vanilla one. The vanilla one that's outside that you. Trust me, I don't. Well, it is vanilla. I hate it. I can't. I like the smell of it. Just over. I like real vanilla. I like tasting it. I don't like vanilla bath stuff. We were voting. Oh, you're voting. Do you have, no? Because you don't. You guys have to vote in November. We had advanced polls this weekend for. We didn't vote this weekend. We're gonna vote on voting day because voting day, our voting poll is like literally across the street at the high school. The advanced polls were about 45 minutes away by bus. Like, if you drove, it was only 10 minutes, but the buses are crap. So, I'm going to open up the second package here. Put them all in. We are voting on the vanilla, silly. Okay. Well, you guys get to vote. See, I don't know what you're voting like. There was all this American stuff, and I'm like, well, I share it to also get people out here in Canada to also vote, even though we're only doing municipals and our mayor and school board. Um, which aren't really huge, but they're not for a particular party, so they're not liberal, not conservative. You know, they could be, but they don't identify as such. Hey, Columbia fan! Literal. I think that's the ADHD. And I swear, you know, sometimes I really identify with other people like on the spectrum. I have a few friends who are have a bit of Asperger's or have some autistic tendencies and stuff like that. I identify well with them because they literally speak their mind or that, and um, don't always catch social cues. So I don't catch some social cues just because the way I was brought up, but and I don't really understand feelings because I was taught to kind of repress them, which is not really good. And only now as an adult, it's like, oh, I shouldn't be doing all this stuff. Got all this vanilla bean powder stuff from inside. Oh, how come there's trolls? Yes. Hi, Reaper Man. How's it going? I'm not getting it buffering here. I have it up here and I'm seeing it down here. Somebody mentioned, I think, because Paranormal Activity came in and he had changed his name, and because he changed his name because of trolls, and I said, well, I wasn't really having trolls coming in; they just come in down, thumbs down my videos stuff. No, I'm just trying. All I'm doing is I'm trying to open them so that the black stuff is comes out inside, and any that goes on my fingers, I'm scraping in. Oh, and I washed my hands first. But I'm putting it in to kill anything anyways. I like coffee beans. I love coffee beans. Chocolate covered coffee beans. Okay, when I was in college, I did used to live off them during exams. Hey, Jolan! Some more vanilla beans to my vanilla. I'm just like it so that they can go down. So that's the one. There's one. I don't know. I think it's one troll that has many accounts. I don't know. I don't know what I've done to piss off somebody. And thank you very much, Columbia Fan, for the comp. So nice. Yes, people are cruel. People are cruel in life, and YouTube just and you have an account name that especially ones that don't have pictures or attached to real people. They people will say um, but anonymous things that they would never say to somebody in person. I'm having difficulty opening this one. Thanks for this. Yes, I've been 100 um, subscribers for about 5 months now. 4 months. I've been going between 1080 and 1098. I haven't reached, and so I gain some, I lose some. Um, one's harder. I don't want to cut myself. So, adventure. Well, true. So this is what. So from my experience so far, from what I've gathered, are being trolls on other people's channels, is that the ones that are doing it are either kids that have nothing better to do and they just like causing trouble, or it's that have nothing better to do, that they're pissed off with the world for whatever reason. Cool. It's glass and it has a stopper. What can I repurpose this for? Ron, do you have an idea? There's like it's a test tube type thing. When someone hide their number subs, then the channel grow faster. Uh, yeah, I guess I don't know. It's so I was told when I first started not to hide my numbers, just because um, it doesn't show up when you subscribe to somebody else and you hide your numbers. I don't think it shows up on their numbers. I don't know. Cut them in half too. Vanilla all over my fingers. Sierra, he's the R. What what should I repurpose this for? And it's glass, so it's not plastic either. That's kind of cool. Kind of mad at myself. I was going to start filming for Cocoa Duck Baby, but I lost the camera charger somewhere. Oh dear, is it a specific charger for the camera, or is it just a micro USB charger? It's looking good. It's getting quite filled to the rim there. Um, for just to put seeds in. Well, yeah, that's what I've been doing. I was shaking it. Well, not when I was on vacation. I was shaking it. Oh yeah, no, they're going to go down. They're just float. They just floated up. They were just stuck at the top because um they were on an angle. Like when you have two. Oh darn! I'm cutting these a bit smaller. Ah, keep shaking a good exercise. No, I'm shaking other things. I don't know. I don't think I could put these last two in. It's quite full. I might be able to get it in there. No, I'm getting it in there. I just got. I don't want any of this bean stuff. No, put this on. Like where? Mm, there we go. Yes. In what format? Okay. Okay. Did you get checked by the resource teacher or the teacher to look at it? No. Okay. I was gonna say get it checked first to see. Send me also the article so I can look at it. See? Ah. Okay. Well, send that to me and I'll go after school with you. Oh, that's not Abby. That's Rowan. Well, they say hi to you. They thought it so there's lots. Mm. And it's Alberta pure vodka. Canadian. But everything else, the beans, are from other countries. I can't wait to do Christmas baking with that. What are you laughing at? Oh, oh my allergies. So yesterday, so we had rain yesterday night. It's raining today, misting. But yesterday afternoon, did I do? Yeah, I did a live stream yesterday, right? Words. I got like a massive headache and on my eyebrows that I just went and lied down. It was not because the change of pressure. So we did not do the meal that was planned for yesterday. um, did I put that menu plan up yet? Um, or it's kind of coming up today. So we have an extra day of food. So we'll be doing the pork schnitzel tonight, and then tomorrow the steak or the shrimp. No, the shrimp is still frozen, so we could do the steak tomorrow. Yes, we'll take out the pot pie. Um, I'm just gonna freeze the turkey. Hmm. So we might take out the pot pie, or I might still make the pot pie and freeze the pot pie. Okay. So we ended up. So I was talking to Jeff, and he's like, "Don't worry." So subs. We had Donair subs. Because I was just like, I don't. It was so hot yesterday. It was 28 degrees here in Ottawa. I had to turn the AC on the night before. We didn't. Nobody slept. Came home early. Jeff didn't sleep. I didn't sleep. Rowan slept fine because she likes it. Can Korean short ribs last night. Oh yes, yum. Love Korean short ribs. and the barbecue ribs and kimchi. Oh, oh, Rowan, can you pass me? Can you get me the radish from the that it's in the sink? Okay, fine. I'll bring you guys with me. So, I planted from seed uh, some, which is an Asian white radish. And I picked one yesterday from my garden because it was literally popping out of the ground. I just have it sitting in the sink here in the bathroom because it's huge. So, have this huge daikon radish that I got the seeds even for free. So I got the seeds for free, planted in my garden. So I have a few of them in my garden. Picked one, washed it up with the napa cabbage, and make some kimchi. Speaking of Korean, so huge. And that's for forgetting to water it. I watered, and this is from seed. So, and we got a bunch of seeds. So our Korean garden at our church got some seeds from Home Hardware. They were going to throw some old seeds, like last year's seeds. A lot of them were like the Asian vegetables, so I got some. And lots of them were beans and stuff. But my family doesn't like beans. But I took one type of bean my family might eat because it's one that you grow to dry them to eat them that way. Because they only like beans and chili. Kimchi. Yes, I'm going to do. I'm going to make a video of it when I make it, and um, I have I buy kimchi usually at Costco is the best price, um, or I go to get at TNT or the Asian market. But there's I can get a seasoning packet for kimchi at the Asian market. I could do it myself. So last time I did the seasoning packet, but I don't. It didn't quite like it turned out, but it didn't quite turn out as well. So I might try make my own because the Asian market does have the you have to use the Korean chili peppers powder, which they do have. It's bright red and it's um, super spicy. My biggest problem is sometimes waiting for things done. So this is so full. I think there's the tiniest air bubble right there. And kimchi, I love just eating kimchi. My family doesn't have a little bit of kimchi when we're having Asian dishes just to add a little bit of spice and sourness, like a palate cleanser type thing. But my kids don't like it. They think I'm weird. And sometimes I just need something spicy or something sour. Like my body is just craving it. So then I'll just get a little bowl and take a few pieces of kimchi and eat them just like that because I'm strange. Or if I have rice, just plain rice, I'll have it with that. Or I'll throw it in if I make an Asian soup. A few in there to add some spice and sourness to it. So, oh, there's 8 people in here, and only 6 thumbs up. Come give us thumbs up. Have I posted the um my menu plan yet? Did it get posted yet? Not. It will be today. This past weekend for Thanksgiving, On the weekend we did hot pot, so I got a hot pot, my a normal pot on my induction burner, and then I use my instant pot broth because Rowan doesn't like spicy, and Jeff and I and Abby like spicy. I think I did. I'm like, I know I had was editing it. I have to go thumbs up after it goes off. Oh, no problem. Um, and now I have to go think because I was doing. I know I was editing, but I don't know if I had uploaded. Like I so I have the video on the computer, and then I upload it onto YouTube, and then I still have to edit it on YouTube, like putting the title and the tags and stuff. Yes, we are super, really enjoy. I enjoy having other people here because it's kind of lame. I have to go. So, CR, what other things should I do with this? Speaking of recycling, like it can't stand on itself because it's rounded, so it can't. I'm just curious what to do with it. Remember in the day, when I was in college, there was a bar downtown we used to go to called Joey's Only or Joey's something. On Friday they had fishbowl Fridays, and then they had shooters tubes like this. They had shooter girls that were just like wearing a t-shirt and a container with all the test tubes, and you'd of like fancy stuff, like um, like the blue drink. What's it called? Blue Lagoon or something. But a shooter of it for like two. It was $5 or $10 fish bowls depending on the size, and um, $2 things. And that was the cheap bar. It was by the university downtown. Now it's gone. The bar that it used to be is now the Caribbean restaurant that I went with Abby, or the which is a poutineery spot. Yeah, well, you think of it. Let me know, but message me. You can message me on here or on Facebook or Instagram. I don't really check that often, but I do get no messages on there. I'm just not very good at taking pictures. Rowan is the Instagram queen. Well, you have a wonderful day. Give out my phone number. Anonymous hacker. Yes. With a name like that. Oh, bye, CR. Have a great day. Thanks for popping by. I appreciate it. Now this is gonna. Hmm. Bye, Rowan. Are you babysitting today? Okay. So you're not babysitting all this week? Oh, okay. Where's my 1090. I'm always just so close to 1100. Did I? No, I have not put my menu plan for this week yet. Oh, that was why. I was editing it and then my computer crashed. I was like wondering where it was. And I'm like, we'll be uploading that today. I'll get that done today. It was snowing in Calgary. I'll ask Google. Hey Google, they're in Calgary.
Currently in Calgary, it's 0 degrees and mostly cloudy. Today, it'll be partly cloudy, with a forecasted high of 6 and a low of 0.
So it's 0 degrees. Stuck in my tooth. Don't you hate it when you have celery that has the strings? Um, hey Google, is it snowing in Canada?
Not snowy. It's 21 and mostly sunny.
Not Toronto. I said, hey Google, is it snowing in Saskatchewan?
No, it isn't snowing right now in Saskatchewan. It's minus 3 and mostly cloudy.
Wow, it's -3 in Saskatoon. Hey Google, is it snowing in Regina?
No, it isn't snowing in Regina right now. It's minus 5 and mostly sunny.
Well, it's freaking cold in Alberta and Saskatchewan, though. Um, so fall, we had 28 degrees here in Ottawa. We beat the record that we've ever had. Our highest was yesterday, was 28 October 10th. And then the lowest we had was where it was -10. And we had um, 5 centimeters of snow on the ground. So so it hasn't been October hasn't been very cold or with snow. Yeah, we're having we had a heat wave for 2 days for so I have the air AC on because it was too it's cool right now because hey Google, what's the temperature?
Now, it's 12 degrees.
So right now it's only 12 degrees. So it's cool right now, but I still have the air conditioning on because the house is still above 20. Um, and I want to make sure it's nice and cool because 2 nights ago nobody slept. Last night we slept, but it was still above 20. Um, I slept until about 2:30, and then hubby couldn't hadn't slept much, and he went down to the basement because he was still too hot. But then when he went down to the basement, I tried to go back to sleep and I couldn't sleep, so I didn't get much sleep. I slept well when I went to bed, so I got to bed early, about 10. So I slept for 4 hours, and then I couldn't sleep. Like I mean, I didn't sleep well because I still kept on falling back asleep, but and I kept on contemplating like, should I just get up? I'm like, well, because normally if Jeff's in the bed and I can't, stay asleep, I come downstairs, go on my computer, make coffee, do whatever work, research and stuff that I have to do. Um, but since he wasn't in bed, I wasn't disturbing him, so I just stayed in bed. Yeah, tonight will probably be a log. I think also just I had a headache, so it headache, and he got Advil and stuff, and I got took Advil. So having the headache didn't help. Um, and then this morning I took Tylenol because the Advil took the edge off, but I took gel cap ones we have, and that took the rest of it away. Usually add like one dose of Advil, but since it was like a pressure one, it just kind of lingered, and I'm like, ugh. Yeah. So tonight I'll probably sleep better. But that is why I need the coffee because the coffee helps. Um, yeah, and I never remember as a child or as a teen ever really being affected by the rain, humidity, by the temperature changes. Um, I do remember as I got older, like in my 20s, being affected when snow. Like I could feel it in my knuckles, on my knees, and my toes. Like I have arthritis, but I don't have arthritis because I got like tested years ago, like the blood test one for the arthritis, and they said I didn't have arthritis. So yeah, today I'm wearing a sundress, but that's because I'm in the house. I went out, had to bring something for Abby, and it was cool. I'm like, yesterday I was wearing a sundress, and I really, honestly wanted to be like naked because it's too hot. I'm like, it was just hot, like the humidity, it was just like sticky, and there was like, it was like, bleh. um, and same with the day before, it was hot. When I went and had my doctor's appointment, and it was bright and sunny, like it was like summertime. So it's cooling off. It's supposed to go down to zero this week, but um, ever in Canada, we when I was a kid, every second Halloween it snowed or was cold. Always made sure our costume over our snowsuit, or we could put our jackets over the majority of our costume and like unzip it at the door to show what we were dressed as, you know. But for my kids, during their time trick or there's been two Halloweens in the past where there's been snow on the ground, and there's been another two that's been cold. Um, maybe two have been cold, but I always, when they were smaller, well, even yeah, I always brought the wagon with me, so halfway through trick or treating, they'd take off their jacket, um, and I'd carry it. And then as they got older and the wagon got broken, I carried my trolley. Like I have my pink trolley right there. I had an orange one before that, and I think a black one before that. So I used to carry that to also because when they went trick or treating, they couldn't carry the bag of trick treats, so I'd always dump them into a bag in there, and then they'd have their thing empty because they wanted a lighter container. The high will be 52. Wow. Hey Google, was 52 degrees?
52 degrees Celsius equal 125.6 degrees Fahrenheit.
No. Hey Google, was 52 degrees Fahrenheit?
52 degrees Fahrenheit equal 11.111 degrees Celsius.
58 is 14. Cool. Yeah, because so that's about the temperature that is here. Today's right now it's 12. So it's about, and I'm wearing a sundress. I go outside. It was cool. Like I did a video, which will get uploaded tomorrow, of a video of 20 things I don't buy. I'll upload that. Like I don't buy anymore. But you could see it was I was did it this morning. My trees are turning wonderful colors. Yeah. So we usually get snow in November. We usually get snow before your Thanksgiving. Um, but the last few years, again, we've had a very warm and long summer that like September, I had the AC on for half of September. I turned it off and just had the windows open. We had like 2 days of possible frost, but the frost never actually hit my. I still have tomatoes growing in my garden and hot peppers and stuff like that. Yes, our fall is pretty. This is so. This is the thing of Canada is Canada is a beautiful country, like beautiful land wise, weather wise, and stuff. As long as you're prepared. If you're not prepared, Canada sucks. Okay, like I like winter sometimes. I like winter when I'm fully prepared. If I'm going to go out, if I'm going to go out for the whole day of doing snow activities, I need to be fully prepared, have the right proper clothes so that I stay warm, and I can go outside and enjoy snow. And but if I'm not prepared, um, or if I have kids, like I've done scouting and stuff like that, that they weren't as prepared. You know, cranky kids, cold kids, they make cranky adults. And it's really hard when kids aren't fully prepared and you are responsible for them that to for you to really enjoy yourself. um yeah, like my front yard, I have a maple tree orange, and then I have this fake crab apple tree. It doesn't produce crab apple. I don't know what it's called, but it produces like the seed that's inside a crab apple. Like it's small. It's like a cranberry, but it's not a crab apple. Somebody said somebody said the type of tree it was. It's like the crab apple tree, and then I have a little burning bush, and it turns bright red. And I have my tall yellow flowers, and that like I have a lawnless lawn, so it's a butterfly garden. Of wildflowers and other um, plants that are from my front yard, and it grows. I haven't watered in years. No, the first year I had it, I watered it, and that's it. Yeah. So here, uh, it gets cold. It gets cold at Halloween. Also, it gets dark. Well, I mean, we have the daylight savings time. I think that weekend. Hey, Iron Fire Horse, long time no see. Hope the rain and hurricane doesn't mess with our fall leaves. I live in the Blue Ridge Mountains. Oh, I've heard the Blue Ridge Mountains are beautiful. Like you guys have a whole bunch of different types of trees and stuff there too. Like here, like we have well maples and red maples and oaks and all that stuff. And some places in the states to be not a wide variety of trees. Like we have deciduous trees as well as I can't remember what they are called. Regular trees. Yes, they heard that Hurricane Michael, like people weren't haven't like recovered from the last hurricane, which was a month ago. Hurricane, what was it called? I can't remember. But Michael's coming in, and it's hitting a little bit different area. It's hitting more landmass. So tempting to get videos. Ooh, I love fall colors. That's why I did my um, thumbnail for here. I was just outside and I took a picture with the colors across the parkway to show the colors. Ooh, nice. Well, see, and that's the thing. Like Canada from coast to coast have such a multitude of different types of trees. Some change color, some don't, and some turn bright yellow, bright orange, bright red, and some brown, which really isn't that exciting. But um, Canada's very pretty. If you are into hiking or anything to do with outdoors, come up to Canada and check it out. There's like you can go anywhere. Like like we have everything. Like we have even like some desert, some mountains, some you know glaciers, some uh, like forest, dense forest. Like we like in BC, they have the really big, huge trees there, like this wide, old forest. And the provincial park. So usually you can get. So they had a pass last year that you could get a provincial park pass. That's good for all the provincial parks. Last year they had offered it really cheap. But what's nice with the provincial parks is that, and if you have a disability, so FYI, if you know somebody who has a disability and they have a card, like, saying they have a disability, you can't just say, I have a disability. So if you have, like, CNIB has a card, you have your veterans card or whatever, like your disability parking pass or whatever, because you have to have a disability to get that. If those, you can camp at provincial parks in Canada for half price. So, and the provincial parks, because we did that. Hubby used his CNIB card, and we rented a campsite. This was a couple of years ago, which is really fun camping when you don't drive. So I got a friend who had a van. She picked us up. We dropped off our stuff at the campsite. Went to the local town, picked up food, dropped that up there, and then she came back a week later and picked us up. It has such a diversity of terrain. Like we're on the Canadian Shield. Like where we are is like the Canadian Shield. So like, but we have basements. But when people are building here, the like we only where I live, we have about 6 inch, and then you're hitting like sheet rock. Um, so sometimes you can dig a little bit deeper, like in various spots. But like my garden, I had to build it up um, for growing, and then my garden at the community garden are raised beds because it just grows better. And then also that's good for frost when we do hasn't really hit the raised beds as much as the stuff on the ground. And Canada, like Ontario, has so many provincial parks, so many unique things. I haven't, like, this is one is I want to get my license. Like I would think, I would like to get my license and rent an RV some point, and one summer travel from coast to coast. And I had a friend who did that this year. Rented an RV. No, they didn't rent an RV. They just had a trailer in their van from coast to coast. Um, but they had smaller children, but they were traveling and they spent like 1 or 2 days in each spot. Like they went to Banff and they went to BC. Like they went to a little northern Ontario and there, and then through southern Ontario. But I wish that's one of the things of I wish I did know going for my 365, and I wish I got my license when I was younger and just kept it and renewed it. But see, that I was 20, I didn't really have the money. Like renewing it was $150. I wasn't practicing on anybody's vehicle. You know, my mom when I was younger, well, didn't have a vehicle. My dad, who did have a vehicle, was a jerk. It was and wouldn't let me practice on home. I preferred to keep that money to spend on food and stuff like that. So then I just stopped renewing it, and I should have kept on because now it's graduated licensing. So you have to get like a G1, and then you have to wait a year or do a course, which I did a course many moons ago, and then get your G2. Leaves are so bright orange in some of the places with the. I thought it was the blaze orange jacket. Oh, that's beautiful. Yes, we where I live in Ottawa, across the river is the Gatineau Hills. People drive through there. Full colors, like you could, like, and there's lots of Hiking paths in the wintertime. It's cross country skiing and snowshoeing. In the summer, it's also there's mountain biking paths, and you can even rent um, some yurts in there too. Yeah, no problem. It's as to hidden or whatever. So can't imagine not driving. Don't like waiting. Relying on other people and the waiting. I don't mind the waiting too much. Like transit system was better. Like I mean, it's not bad, but Toronto has like way better transit system. Like you can get from one point to the other and not have to like I can get to one point to another, but it takes forever. Like we don't have like the routes are not very well designed for people. Um, so up till now, we've made do challenges and stuff. But our lifestyle was better for it that we weren't spending that money on a vehicle, on car insurance, on stuff. But now, as I'm getting older, and our my Rowan's graduating this year, she could be going off to college, or university. Like she wants to go college bound, and she will stay at home and go to Algonquin here in Ottawa. But she could be going away, right? She has no interest in getting her license either. Because I said we'd pay for her to get her license, like to go take a course and stuff like that. But she didn't want to. But maybe that might be something she might want to do next year. Well, and this is the thing. So, looking at jobs and stuff, contemplating going back to work part time or whatever. I'm limited to around here because if I go much further out of the West End, the busing is going to take an hour to 2 hours to get there. I'm sorry, if I'm going to be working somewhere minimum wage or like especially if it's minimum wage I ain't traveling that. You know, I'm sorry, I can get to home and not have to travel an hour there and an hour back. I don't mind traveling up to an hour if it was um, like the $20 an hour for my skills doing at the minimum of $20. Uh, but minimum wage of 14, 15. No, I can go work at the grocery store for that, and I could just walk there in 10 minutes. Bad hunters give yes. I really wish. Also, that's another thing I wish that I had family members that hunted. I only know friends. My friend that I do groceries with, her husband hunts. So sometimes I might get, they might have a want to gift me or something like that. But like it's like a package, because I'll usually make them some stuff, some canning stuff and that. But I wish I knew people who hunted. So because that would be, I love game. I love like deer meat in a stew just makes a stew phenomenal. It just feels like home, like And I never had deer growing up, other than I had an aunt who made. First time I had deer stew, but it ended up being venison. It was like the best stew I ever had from an aunt. Well, she wasn't really an aunt. She was like a friend of the family that I called aunt. So, and then since then, I've had deer from other people who've hunted, but I don't. My family, well, we don't believe in guns in the house, just because I keep saying we should change our last name to Murphy because when I light candles, I don't light candles often, and when I do the high. because there's just going, it's just an accident waiting to happen. But I do really believe in trying to be self sustaining. Like, if there was somebody who lived close to me that could hunt, I would be more than happy to can their meat for them, if I got some of the meat in exchange or something like that. Doing the extra time of doing that type. I just love that. I didn't Yeah, well, especially because Iron Horse, you're in a smaller community. You don't have public transportation where you have to go. I mean, this is one of the things. So, not having public transportation means you not having a car means you have to live somewhere that has public transportation. Means you have to live in a bigger city, which means rent and mortgage and all that stuff is more expensive. Or you could live out in the country. Like, if I had a vehicle, we could live out into the country, um, out to, like, past Dunrobin's where they had the tornado, but just past Dunrobin, or Munster or Richmond. Mortgage for a house, pay $1,000 or less a month on a house that would be a single home with land and all the major utilities. Like, you're not even on septic system, like you're still on plumbing, like city pipes. But not having a car, I have to be where there's public transportation, which means rent is higher and everything. But it also means access to services are closer too. So I know some people who have disabilities that their families live out in the country and they're stuck. They literally are, like, they're um, a hostage in their own home because they can't go out unless it's about which they have to book way in advance. Uh, Live in the country, no taxis or buses. I have few relying on others. Yes, well, this is the thing is that if you don't have tax, so we're kind of hi, bye, Tom Tom. Sorry, seeing you go. Bye. We have taxis. We have Lyft. I have friends who have vehicles, but the problem with that is work during the day. So I don't have access to them or their vehicles during the day. And so that's why when I, like, my friend I do groceries with, she's retired. When she needs to go groceries, I go with her. There's usually some wiggle room. It's nice and good. I almost starved to death last time my car was down. No one together. That is awful. Iron Fire Horse. Um, for sport and don't. Yeah, I for hunting that for people who hunt for sport, I think it's completely wrong. I think if you're going to go hunt, you should process the deer and use everything. There are some things that you might not necessarily know how to use, but you could give them to somebody who does know how to use it. Yeah, I developed lots of different tastes when I was young. So this is the thing. The My childhood had a lot of things that sucked, because of just the way my parents were. I mean, they were alcoholics for my childhood. For my teenager years, they weren't. But um, my dad did have um, great taste buds. He liked to he was the cook, so, like, they were separated. They were separated since I was young. when I was with him and visit him, he would cook things like stuff like with sauces like creams, like fancy or like French cuisine type stuff. Mostly a lot of Caribbean dishes because he's from Bahamas and stuff. But like he would do a roast and do the fancy glazes and stuff like that. So and I remember one of the great memories was we one time I was probably about 8 or 9. We went downtown to the Royal Cafe or whatever. It used to be the Royal Bank, like the first Royal Bank in Ottawa, downtown on Bank Street in Somerset. Used to be a Royal Bank, and then it turned into a cafe. And it was like a big old building, and it had fancy food. Like I had escargot there for the first time in my entire life. We had French onion soup, escargot, and something else. I just remember escargot never had. He goes, "Would you like to try some escargot?" And I'm like, "Sure." Um, I'll try anything, right? And so I took it, and then he told me it was snails. I didn't have the mushroom caps. He ate the mushroom caps because I don't like mushrooms. Austin, Texas, where I'm from. I'm catching up on reading the things. Too much big space. Yes, well, so this is the thing. Canada, the way that it's situated, is that the big like where we are, like even from Ottawa, where the West End's from, there's a spot like there's a highway, there's like farm fields in between there. Um, you our cities are city space, or town space. Like there's so much space in between towns that like when there was tornadoes that hit here, there were 6 tornadoes. One of them we didn't even know hit here until like the next day because it hit in the bush in cottage country where people aren't in cottage country in the end of September. You know, um, so there was damage there, but it was on White Lake. Well, nobody kind of knew about it till the next day. Um, but we have so much space, and then our cities are so cramped. Like our down, not okay. Even our downtown's not as cramped as some of the bigger cities of the states that I've gone to. That's kind of crazy, but I can't do buses because of my back. Yes, because you were saying your back injury. Well, the buses. Yeah, I don't know. I think the bus drivers they get sometimes are practicing for like the Indy 500 or something. Stop, fast, or they do stop go. I've heard of Collingwood. I've never. I think I've driven through there. I've never stopped in there that I know of. A city and just moved for cheaper rent. Well, Iron Fire Horse. If you move closer to Ottawa, you'd know me. I'd have coffee with you. Um, and so and Ottawa's cheaper than Toronto area. Because but to get cheaper places, as I said, you have to kind of move to Munster or Richmond. My friend who I do groceries with, she lives in Munster. It's 20 minutes away from here. But but there's so much you could get to by not by bus, by car. Close to 10 acres on a farm. Learned how to hunt and process. Well, of course you know how to eat. Living on a farm, I think. See, that's the thing. I wish I lived on a farm. I wish I had a big family, like I was part of a big family, and lived on a farm because I would just love that type of stuff. But then that's just me. I don't know. Close to 10. Yes, West Indian and yes. Well, that's why sometimes if you look at my menu plans, or even if you look at my meals, they don't usually go with a theme. They go with whatever I'm feeling like wanting. So sometimes I'll have something Asian, and then I'll have something European, and then I'll have some, something plain, just kind of mixture of things. Like sometimes on the weekends, lunches are kind of like leftover, make whatever you want. Well, sometimes my lunch will have a little bit of leftovers from this, and this, and then I'll throw in some kimchi or something. He's like, you are weird. I'm like, yeah, I just like a little bit of everything. And sometimes I have a craving for a specific flavor and I need that flavor. So I just need the condiment. So I might want to just put some mango chutney on my plate, which might not have anything to do with anything else on my plate, but I need to have that mango chutney to get that little bit of Indian flavor that my body just like, ooh, what's Indian? But I don't want to make Indian. And 8 times I've never missed my target. Freaked the guys out. That is cool. I have never shot a gun. I have shot a crossbow. We went with the scouts. We did crossbow. Not crossbow. Bow and arrow, not crossbow. Target practice with the scouts at a local place here, out actually in Richmond. Indoors. Never shot a gun though. To move to Ottawa, bit too far from my daughters. Whereabouts are your daughters though? Playing with the spices and flavors to broaden into different. So yeah, the best place to try those out is to check out like Bulk Barn or like bulk food stores. They have sometimes these spice blends. So what's nice is that you could make something that your family normally eats, but use a different spice blend. So they might have a Thai flavored blend or an Asian flavored blend, Mexican, Spanish, whatever, Puerto Rican or whatever, like, the different flavored blends. And you could throw that into your normal rice dish or meat dish and stuff. And you find just something different. Like, um, and also Pinterest, love Pinterest. Follow me on Pinterest. Follow other people on Pinterest too. But I always try and find things that interest me that I either like eating in a restaurant and try and recreate it at home, um, or stuff that I want to try, to see if I can make it. Some things, excuse me, I can make it, but the time it takes to make it might be worth it, might not be, depending on finances, right? So, like, I can make my own stuffed great leaves. I do really enjoy making them, and they're dirt cheap. Like, I can make hundreds of them for like $20. Oh, I need to plug my thingy in. It's showing low. Sorry. There we go. It's flashing, going low. Oh yeah, Pinterest gets me in trouble too. There we go. Close this. Pinterest gets me in trouble, especially when I try and do too many things at once. Um, but finding, like, for example, for cheap meals, like, to make any meal fairly cheap, add rice and beans to it. Rice or beans or both. Every single culture on the face of this earth, I'm pretty sure, has a rice and bean dish or a rice or bean dish. Because every single culture in the face of the earth has a population, and those two ingredients are dirt cheap in any country. Um, but a rice and bean dish that we have here is cheaper, is different than the rice and bean dish that you guys you have in southern states, or a rice and bean dish in Mexico, or a rice and bean dish in the Caribbean, or a rice and bean dish in China. Like, they use different beans, different rices, different mixtures. Like congee, for example, is a fermented rice soup. So you're basically taking rice, you're putting it in a big pot, like quadrupling the amount of water you do it, and you boil crap out of it. There's some seasonings and flavors and stuff, but it's basically, and you kind of let it ferment a little bit, like overnight or something like that. To get, it's kind of like, when you get when you're making your own yeast and stuff like that. But it's like rice and water. I mean, how cheap can you get? You throw other meats and stuff like that on as toppings, or green onions, or like pork cracklings, or what's the, my brain went blank. The chips, that's the pork skins, but it's chips. They could buy at the store. My brain went blank. Hey, BJ Hunton, how's it going? Pork rinds. You can put pork rinds and stuff, but it's literally just rice and water. But it's a soup. Um, you can make like anything, but you could just look at those countries and the different flavors and the spices. Yes. Um, and throw it in something that you normally make for your family, anyways, and try out those flavors. Lose time, but 5 hours later, yes, especially when you're pinning a bunch of recipes. Yeah, I call it falling down the rabbit hole. Like, you remember Alice in Wonderland? You fall down this rabbit. I get into that way when I'm watching YouTube too. If I go to my usual channels, and I go and watch them start one video, I'll go and binge watch like 5 or 6 of their videos, because I don't necessarily see everybody's videos as they come up. I will see when one comes up, and then I'll watch 4 or 5 that I've missed, and then go to the next person and watch 4 or 5 that I missed. And you fall down this rabbit hole. Same with Pinterest. Same with like Facebook. Um, so that's why it's always good to have reminders, especially when you're on your phone, to um, like a reminder just to say something like load the dishwasher. Like, it doesn't have to be get off your phone, but just something to remind yourself, load the dishwasher at this time. So it's like, oh, I was just on Pinterest for an hour. I should really get off here and actually get the rest of my life moving, which sometimes doesn't happen. I have a lot to do today before I sign on for work. Bye, Rosie. Thanks very much for the extra vanilla beans. And now my vanilla is going to be wonderful. Wonderful. And thanks, Amanda and Rosie, for them. And have a good day at work, Rosie. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. So I see Can't Wait Smells Great, Robin. I'm just gonna call you Robin, okay? Because I'm like, as other of you, you are doing keto. How are you finding keto? I've been trying to do the Trim Healthy Mama. I did it a long time ago, and I was very successful at it. Um, but then I stopped it just because, well, there was health issues that came up in the family, not with me, but with other family members, that required me not being at home for a lot of times, and having to bring people to, doctor's appointments and hospitals. That was really just hard to do it. I know that some keto recipes would fit into Trim Healthy Mama S meals, which are high protein and or fat, low carb. I'm trying to do a bit of that for myself during the day, um, and not so much at supper time. I've been But when it's supper time, I just have less of the carb options. Hmm. Lost. Wow. Congratulations. Woohoo, Robin. That is awesome. Has it been hard? And is your whole family on board with you? See, that's the thing. My family would not be on board with me. um, when I was doing it before, I would make low carb meals and then add a starch for the rest of the family. So my husband would be fine, but not but he likes his starches. Actually, he would probably be fine going vegetarian. He's not big on. I like my meat. So, um, but he's lost weight. So this is the little bugger. Okay, I'm cooking healthier. Little bugger goes and loses weight. I don't. I actually gained weight eating healthier. But I think it's the problem is that I'm not eating regularly. With Trim Healthy Moment, like it had you eating like every 3 or 4 hours. Well, for me, I don't usually eat till like noon, 2 o'clock, and then have supper. And I might have if I eat something first thing in the morning if I'm up early, I'll have something light, but then I won't eat till noon. And that's not I don't try to do that. It's just I'm not hungry and I don't feel like cooking for myself. So that's the thing is I'm trying to prep things for myself for the daytime because and cook it at once because doing it every single day, um, like I have something to just a bit different. I just don't have. I just don't feel interested in cooking for myself. But I like cooking for other people. Figure that one out. I'm alone now, but my daughter was doing it before. My daughter was doing it before me. Oh yeah. If the whole family was still here, I think I'd have been this successful. Okay. Where have your has your whole family been? Like for myself, um, I have to. What I've been just doing is trying to be active, which I hadn't really been. So that's why I'm doing the 100 miles walking challenge. Oh, I'm sorry, Robin. Going through divorce, kids are grown and on their own. You don't look old enough to have grown kids. Empty nest. See, if I was by myself, so that was the bad thing. If I was by myself and my kids were all grown, um, I don't know if I would be very successful because I don't really like necessarily cooking for myself. I like for other people. Like so, when I'm at home alone, I don't feel really interested in eating or making anything elaborate. But if my family was here and they were hungry, I would be all over making things elaborate because that's kind of like my love language. I like doing giving gifts like service and stuff. But I mean, you look. But divorce, I'm sorry to hear that. I've had a few friends. Actually, about 4 years, 3, 4 years ago, I had like almost half to 3/4 of my friends all go through divorces or changes in relationship and stuff. And just this past week, last week, I was supposed to babysit for one who had their divorce just finished, what got finalized in January. It took 2 years, and the other friend divorced. It took 3 years that I was going to be babysitting for my friend who was going to be a witness in that divorce, because it was just a nasty. He was being an jerk, you know. Um, and it was just like everybody was seeing. I kept on saying something was in the water, that everybody was getting divorced. You know, it's and in times of stress, I completely agree. I'm a stress eater, and I just eat whatever is available. Like if I had leftovers, I would eat it. Anything that I don't have to do anything with. So yeah, of course, all those convenience foods, all the snacks. That's why I don't buy a lot of those snacks. I do for Jeff, and he likes those, but I tend not to have those in here in the house too much because I would just go and eat them. Always cooked for others, showing love. Exactly. If I'm his, I love me. Cook for me and show me love. See, yeah, that's where I have problems with myself, is loving myself. Um, just because of my childhood and the way I was brought up. Um, I'm lucky, knock on wood. I've been in a very healthy relationship with my husband, um, which, considering my childhood, I was more destined to be in a bad relationship. But he's been good for me, in the sense that his family relationship is not necessarily normal. What more normal than mine. Mine was like completely dysfunctional, dysfunctional. Like you. That's my whole family, all right. His was more functional. Um, so having him, like, he loves me, but I'm still dealing with my stuff in the past, of loving myself. Like, I had no problem taking my kids to the doctors when they're sick, but for me to go to the doctors, I have to be like on death's bed. I mean, that's why, like, my most recent thing, I just got diagnosed with ADHD. It took so many years of getting my own doctor, because I would go to a clinic and then going to that doctor and then getting me transferred to, like, seen by a specialist. Yes, being sad and scared. Let's scroll down here. Me too. Eat all. Have a great day. Bye, BJ. Bye, Brad. Have a great day. Have fun with your father. I think he's gone to go see his father. Ah, yes, alcohol and abusive. I know that. Both my parents, alcoholic and abusive. My mom a little bit less than my dad. Um, three out of four grandparents were alcoholics. I got that. My grandmother was not an alcoholic. She did have rum in her, like, she was actually prescribed rum for her angina and her hole in her heart stuff, but she had the same bottle of rum for like 30 years. My grandfather was an alcoholic, and then he got sober for like the last 8 years of his life. Um, but yeah, both my parents were alcoholics. My mom, my mom got sober when I was 10, and my dad when I was about 11, 12. But they were separated um, when I was 6. So yeah, that's rough. I personally, knock on wood, I've only dealt it from a child standpoint versus relationship standpoint, and I saw how my mom kept on taking my dad back and then kicking him out, taking him back, because he would get sober or whatever, he'd apologize and stuff, and she still loved him. Like, I mean, like, that was the thing. My dad was a charmer and was a lovable person when he was sober. When he wasn't, he was not. And then even when he became sober, he still had some of the bad behavior, a lot of the bad behaviors from being drunk, but not being drunk. So he was very still a narcissistic person. Um, but that's I think, part of the disease, the alcoholism. It makes you be narcissistic or you're narcissistic to begin with and you become an alcoholic. I'm not too sure, like, if it's the horse before the cart or what. Well, you don't look 49 because I was saying you look about 40, like early 40s. Um, because I was just looking at your pictures and they kind of look like me. Well, girl, I can understand where you're coming from, but from a child perspective, not from. I mean, my husband is not an alcoholic or anything like that, so I'm lucky in that sense. Actually, we don't really drink often. Like we drink when we're on vacation, and we have wine at my in-laws on Sundays. We have rum or vodka. Like if we have a drink, we have like one or two drinks during the week every couple of weeks, maybe. Like usually, like when it was summertime, we would have more of like a Caesar or something like that, or like if it was a celebration thing, or just like we'd have one drink. Yeah, but and that's because I know how my parents were. That I purposely don't drink a lot, but I do know how dealing with a narcissistic person is and the damage that caused from that. That's why took so long for me to get diagnosed with ADHD and started trying to take care of myself. Not because people like my husband kept on trying to tell me to go, go get, to take care of myself, but I put everybody else first, and that's just always how I've been. But no alcohol. And his dad, I called, yep. Well, exactly. My dad had became a dry alcoholic too. So um, the the abuse younger was physical, emotional, verbal, and older it was just emotional and verbal, not physical. Because he tried that once and I hit him back. And with my mom and my dad when they were both drinking. So the one thing I do have to respect my mom for is my mom fought back. So when they did fight, even though my dad was bigger and that, she fought back. So usually at the end of so I always tried to blend into the wall. I was just, you know, if they didn't notice I was there, it was good for me. I always walked on eggshells, try not to cause trouble because if they notice I was there, then I might get thrown in the ring. Like not not that bad so much for me, bad for my mom, but my mom fought back. So usually at the end of the fight, they both had black eyes and split lips and all that wonderful stuff. Usually the cops were called and stuff too to break it up. But also back in the 80s, the cops did nothing. They did nothing. So as a child, so I have yeah, I'm pretty sure I have like post traumatic stress because when I talk to like I have a counselor for other stuff, but when she says like my childhood things that I thought were like fairly normal apparently are not normal in other families. Like having the cops show up at your door on a fairly regular basis because your parents are screaming, yelling at the top of their lungs, and either they called or somebody else called because they're having a fight, but then the cops doing nothing. And that was also the time where you could drink and drive, and well, my parents when they were younger, they did drink and drive. Um, they usually got warnings, except for the time when they did hit the trees, and then they got their license taken away. But yeah, that was not not fun. But I just knew what I lived through. That's why I kind of say I kind of raised myself. So that's why I am not as I'm not as organized or as functional as the rest of people. But all things considered, even my dad always said like, um, with all the things that were on our plate, like all the the nature versus nurture thing, all the things that were not in my favor, I turned out pretty darn good. Like I mean, I graduated high school. I graduated college with honors. I did college all on my own, paid it for myself. My mom even died while I was in college, and I still graduated. So, you know, it's the things from my childhood. I believe has made me a stronger person today, so that I could deal with the crap that gets handed to me today. You know. So would I ever go back and try and change my child? I think I'd make it a little bit easier, or as I look back on my childhood, no, like as I look back on situation, no more people looking back on things that I could trust, you know, to help or whatever. Because there was a lot of times where times were lean, and my dad was, you know, as he got older, when he was an alcoholic, he was not good. When he was sober, he was better. He had some, bad habits, but he was not a bad person so much. But when he was an alcoholic, he was not a good person. Hey, Steve, we're talking about dysfunctional families, or at least mine. Um, so yeah, my dad, he would normally come back into my mom's life, stay there, and then they'd fight. They'd last like a couple months, and then they'd leave. Then he'd leave, but when he left, he usually cleared out the bank account and emptied the fridge. So he'd leave, and usually near the end of the month. So there was not necessarily always food in the house or anything like that. So he was like an ass. So he didn't necessarily even. I don't even think that he was doing stuff to hurt my mom, but I got hurt in the crossfires. Just making sure I'm not getting called. I hear the phone for the house, but I don't answer the phone. You came at the right time. Oh, probably to change the subject because the subject just got all kind of deep. um, but Robin, as for um, dealing with your, I guess, ex now, you should check out AA. There's Al-Anon for people who lives get affected by alcoholics and stuff. And we have a place here in Ottawa called Serenity Renewal. They have like courses or groups that they teach different things of, like either for the people who are alcoholics or people who have to deal with alcoholics and stuff, dysfunctional families. No, no, not male bashing. No, no, like mine took all the money and the firearms, my good camera, but I'm thankful he's gone. Yeah, alcoholic with firearms. That's always a good mix. Yeah, well, this is the problem with alcoholism is that it is a disease, and the people who are alcoholics are narcissistic. I don't know it's because the alcoholism causes the narcissism, or they were narcissistic to begin with, and then the alcoholism. But they become narcissistic, so the world revolves around them. Everything that's bad has happened is because other people do something to them that causes them to do something. So even if they're abusive and stuff, they got drinking because they're just trying to relax, and then you come in and you start nagging at them, and of course they like got all angry, but you were in their way, and they justify their behavior. right? Um, and if they can't deal, like if they don't get sober and they can't deal with it and go through AA themselves and learn how to ask for forgiveness and deal with the consequences of their own actions and stuff like that, the behavior just keeps on going. And it doesn't matter if it's going to be to you or to your kids or to the next woman or guy or anybody else he has a relationship with. So, um, I know when I was a kid and I saw how my dad was with my mom. My dad was very abusive. My mom would fight back. I knew that if anybody hit me, I'd be fighting back. So I respected my mom for that. Um, I, looking back at things, I understand why. I don't understand why she didn't leave him sooner. A lot of times, because well, I mean, financially, his money. She was working part time, and his money was paying a lot of bills. But even when he did leave, we still made do. Yeah, you missed Rosie and me adding more vanilla beans that Rosie and Amanda sent me because I had 750 mils instead of 250 mils. So we added more beans. So it'll be much stronger vanilla and faster to get done. Um, but honestly, getting out of an alcoholic relationship is probably in your best interest in the long run because living in that same relationship, even if he's going to get sober, is really hard. And there's lots of resentment and lots of anger, and the person getting sober is not going to get sober nicely. If you know, there's lots of more crap. So hopefully you have been able to access services and stuff like that to maybe get some of the stuff that he took away from, because I mean, when you're divorced, I believe it's 50-50. Also, if you get alimony, they should get alimony for especially if he was the sole earner, right? You'd have to get alimony for half the years you were married. At least that's kind of the gist or the basic rules here. So if he was the sole earner and you were not earning or not earning much, his total income, there'd be a. Oh, you missed the trolls. We had a couple of trolls. You scroll all the way up. You watch the first like 10 minutes of this like in a repeat. You'll see a bunch of trolls that came in. And I'm like, at least they weren't completely, well, disgusting trolls. They were just annoying-ish. But I should probably do probably something on that. Oh, sorry. Talking to myself. And then I argued with myself and I think I lost. So I have coffee and I'm drinking water. That's 500 mils of water. So I didn't want to grab a glass, so I grabbed a canning jar. Plus, I have a whole sink of dishes that have to go in the dishwasher. I have to start cleaning my kitchen. It's. I think Hurricane Michael came to my kitchen already. What was the last hurricane last month? I already forgot what its name was. Hey Google, what was the hurricane last month? Going done with it, and I try to get It will start, but
Something went wrong. Try again in a few seconds.
Florence. Thank you. Because I'm like, I know they go in alphabetical order, but there's been a few other hurricanes um, that were small that didn't hit the states. Florence. Yeah, sometimes. Well, see that sometimes that's your best bet. Cut ties and stuff, but if there's financial issues, like if you own a house together, and if you have a whole bunch. So this was the thing with my parents. They didn't own a lot of stuff together, um, so there was not a lot of equity to kind of split. And with here in like in Canada, you can get divorce papers done up, like especially, and you get notarized by a notary person, I think, and you can serve them, and it costs like $150, I believe, for the divorce part. But if there's contentions to it, then you have to get a lawyer and stuff. Like my friend who literally just got the papers finally signed, settled last week, 5 days in court because her ex was defending himself and was being a jerk and calling witnesses and stuff when uh, it was, you know, the witnesses were not really in his favor. Like, he was calling the witnesses that basically told the judge all the negative things that happened on his part. So I don't know why, but that alone cost $10,000. My friends for the lawyer for the and all the other stuff. So it's $10,000 or $15,000 for a lawyer that he's going to have to at least pay the court costs for because he was dragging his butt and all that stuff. So that's like money that she had to go into her RSPs and her savings, which is like, ay, yes. And so this is the thing. Like the divorce is not like if you're poor, okay, or if one person, say for example, your husband has a CEO of a company and you're a stay-at-home mom, and you go and get divorced, if he has the money to pay for a lawyer and you have bubkiss, right? It's in your best interest to just kind of settle to whatever, because the court cost, the time of the, like, it took 3 years. Like it's gotten to the, because they tried to do mediation first and that didn't work, but the cost, like, it was $15,000, I think, just for the time in court and the stuff to prepare for court, not including the little bit of stuff before, like, because before, like, she only had, like, I think 2,500 before. I was modding and got trolled bad, but 2 weeks ago has ADHD, Tourette's, in a wheelchair. Guy I was modding for got trolled bad, but 2 weeks ago. Oh, he has ADHD, Tourette's, and in the wheelchair. So the guy has those things, or the troll had those things. While with Tourette's, you could be having a whole bunch of different swear words thrown in there too. I have ADHD. Hey, did you see my police? I have ADHD officially diagnosed, and I'm starting Concerta, but very, very, very low, 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 low dose, just to see if that helps any. Because this is the thing. Like, while going through the testing and stuff like that, we were talking about my childhood, and that I'm like, well, yes, it affected me then too, and it affected me a lot in school. But I just trudged through it because I knew that if I didn't get good grades, or if I came home with bad grades, I would be getting it at home. Like my dad was spanking back in the 70s, 80s was not unusual. Um, and oh, your first divorce was with the father of your children. So this current husband is not the father of your children. Is your second husband? Very, very small percentage of people with Tourette's. Okay, well, true. So when I worked with a guy who had Tourette's, when he got really like, it was usually stuttering of words, but when he got really anxious, he would say the F word. That was the only word he would. It would just be like, it sounded like, when you're trying to start a lawnmower, it'd be like F F F F F F, like the word F F F F F. And it was, and then he would laugh at it because he was laughing at himself because he'd get all stressed. He was put on fake pedo. How was he put on that website? Well, my most recent video that talked about my ADHD diagnosis, I got a yellow dollar sign thingy said it's not suitable for all advertisers. But I checked it, like I signed on my account and I checked to go on it. It was still getting ads on it, so I don't know if I'm actually making anything off it. I don't care. But I wanted to share. Well, it was a vlog, right? It's Vlogtober, so I wanted to share what I was going through, and I don't know. I don't understand YouTube, but yeah, I don't get how some of the people I follow in their live streams they swear or they talk about or they smoke. They either smoke cigarettes or vapes or whatever they're doing, right? And they swear and they talk about um, adult stuff, but they're still monetized. But their channel is not um, marked 19. Well, I don't know if I don't think their channel's marked 19A because it doesn't have a sign in thing. I don't know how that works. And I think YouTube is getting particular about some things that is that could be questionable. Like one of the channels I was there, I did see the video. It was like the mummy challenge. So it was her kids doing it themselves. Like they wrapped themselves up in toilet paper and became a mummy. You know. Um, but the video was up for like a day, and then YouTube deleted it because apparently it goes against their terms of service with kids and confinement, I think, or something like that. Like that or something that would go through. So she's thinking it's because of the kids and confinement or whatever, but the kids were doing it to themselves, so it wasn't like somebody doing it to them. Everybody went silent. Hmm. Coffee. Coffee, water, coffee, water. You're sleeping. I'm like, okay. It's nap time. I'm going to bed too. Considering I'm yawning. Always yawning. Pick up my son. What time? What time is it? Where you are, Robin? And is your son? Because you said your kids are old, like are adults. What are your the ages of your kids? Mine, my youngest is turning 16 in December, which we're still trying to figure out what to do for her 16th birthday. If you have ideas that are accessible to a blind child, feel free. Let me know. She wants to kind of, and she doesn't know, like, she might invite like 4 or 5 people. 12:46, so it's the same time as me. So is he like getting off work or something, or school? So we're in the same time zone. That is cool. It's so much easier to talk to. So, well, no, it's so much easier to talk about meals when you're in the same time zone. He was getting off work at 2:30. I was going to go try to go to Aldi's before. Ah, I wish we had Aldi's here. The closest Aldi's, well, is in the States. But I can go to Ogdensburg from where I live in about an hour and a half if I drove. But that's with people I drive. He's 19, my daughter is 26. So I was going to say, my youngest, she'll be 16 this year. And my oldest is 17 and a half. So one's in grade 11, one's in grade 12. My one that's in grade 11, she's going to do an extra year. We call it doing a leap year because she's a December baby. Plus, she's taking some spares um, when she has math because she's doing academic stream math. So that's university level, which is really hard to do in the same time frame as the rest of the class. So like she can do it, it just takes longer because she's blind. So there's a lot more of describing what's going on. But she's a visual spatial learner, go figure. And she does really well with the visual stuff like geometry and trigonometry. Like last year in grade 10 academic math, she got like 96 on trigonometry. I'm like, are you sure you're my child? Because all through high school, I got my highest mark was a 58. My lowest mark was a 52. Like I just barely passed. Now in college, when I did college, I did get an 80 in college calculus. Because I could do algebra going forwards, I could do calculus going forwards, but not doing derivatives going backwards. I couldn't figure out how to go backwards. I could only go forwards. So the first part of the term I did really, really, really well. The second part of the term not so much. So it evened out to being like I think it was 78, 80. That was like my lowest mark when I was doing my DSW. I did get a 52 when I was in my engineering mechanics course at Algonquin, which was a fail because 50 no, I had a 59 and a 60 was a pass in that course. Great little chat. My daughter was always doing better in classes than me. Yeah, I know. Like, I mean, I swear that they probably got the brains from their dad because they're Jeff's more. I mean, he's computer. He knows computers and all that. So that's more math stuff than me. Well, thanks very much, Robin, for popping by. It's been a pleasure. Hopefully, you pop in next time. I will definitely check out your most recent video. Um, you were doing a cooking one. Oh, you were doing a challenge, but I saw there was a pound cake video that looked yummy. Oh, you have a pound cake part 1 and part 2. I will have to check that out because what is there not to like about pound cake? I think Steve is just in here, but also modding the other one since ours seems to be fairly PG going. Whereabouts are you, Robin, in the States? My phone's ringing, but I don't answer the phone. Yeah, that's telemarketers. Start when the phone number starts with 01142. I'm like, yeah, that's telemarketers or something. I ain't answering. I don't answer the phone unless I know the number. Even on my cell, on a very rare occasion, I might answer the phone if I don't know the number because just in case somebody changed their phone. But if a phone number calls me again, like if they called me, hung up, and then call me again, then I will answer it. Same with my door. I don't like answering my door either. It's a little bit of a weird anxiety um, thing I have. Even when I know somebody's coming and they're going to come to the door and they ring the doorbell, I jump every time I hear the doorbell. And even now, because from now until Christmas, there'll be a lot more doorbell ringing because Jeff orders on off Amazon and online. So I have to keep on checking the door because otherwise, if they don't drop off the stuff, sometimes they require signing. So I did answer the door, um, and it ended up being something I had to pay duty for. Well, I paid with Jeff's credit card, but I was just lucky. He didn't know that there was going to be duty because he ordered a phone for my father-in-law from China or something like that. A special of an older phone, I think it was, or one with buttons, because my father-in-law has from his liver transplant stuff, his hands kind of shake and stuff. So doing like normal touch screen, like it doesn't shake like this much, but just a little bit. He can't really do very well, and since he's blind too, he needs to have it accessible so he can run talkback. So I think it has one like a phone with just regular buttons, so that he can actually have something in case of an emergency that he cell phone when he's out. Like if he tripped and fell, because he's also not a young pup either. So he ordered that, but there was a charge, a duty of $32, I think it was. I'm just glad I had the credit card to do it, or they would have taken debit too. So I still had money in my account. Um, I could have done debit, but I'm like cash. I don't have. I don't think I have $32 in this house in cash. It, I don't know. Internet just went wiggy. But yeah, I don't answer the door. At least, definitely not right away. I let the doorbell ring and then I wait a little bit and see if they're still standing at the door. It's usually telemarketers, and I don't like talking to them. It's I don't know. I have a bit of anxiety with that. I don't like talking to. Well, I don't like being necessarily rude at the door, even though I want to be rude at the door. I also don't like doing return. I purchase stuff and I have to return it. I have a little bit of anxiety to returning stuff. Um, Especially if it's something I bought that doesn't fit. Like, 'cause some stores you don't, there's no place to try stuff on. For example, Costco. You buy stuff at Costco, if it doesn't fit, you can't really try it on before you. That's why I like buying stuff elsewhere. But if it's for my kids, if it doesn't fit, then it's like I have to return it, and it's just one more thing to do. I don't really like doing that. I will do it. I used to not do it when I was in my early 20s. If I bought stuff, and it didn't fit, I wouldn't return it. I just kept it. I usually gave it to a friend or something like that because I didn't want to return it. I know that's really stupid and silly. So as I got older, I got better at returning stuff. So, um, now, what are things I have issues with? I don't like necessarily calling people unless it's my friends. I don't mind calling them, but I don't like calling like doctors and stuff like that. But I have no problem talking on the phone. So where I've worked or volunteered, if I had to answer the phone, like people calling me, I had no problem answering the phone. It was back that I sometimes have issues with. Not as much. I kind of, you know, trudge through it, power through it, get her done. So, but it is 1 o'clock, almost 1 o'clock. Probably going to get ready. I have so much house cleaning chores that I've been procrastinating and putting off, like loading the dishwasher. There's the pots and pans because I think I've used all my pots and pans, and I need to get them done. And them sitting and soaking in the sink is not getting it done. And they weren't that bad to begin with, so I should get going. I will try and do a live stream around the same time, about noon, 11:30. I think if not, it'll be about 1:30. Trying to think of the time tomorrow. So I'll be doing another lunchtime ish live stream and hopefully see you all there. And that's about it. Hope to see you. Bye, friends.